In this episode, I'm going to teach you how to request someone to be a guest on your podcast. Stay tuned. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of Interview Connections TV. I am your host, Jessica Rhodes, and I am filming this episode as I said, in the morning time, still enjoying my coffee, and I had an idea for a video. As a lot of you know, I work from home, so a lot of times I don't put makeup and my earrings on and do my hair, but I got looking nice today, so I said I've got to turn on the video camera and film an episode for next week. In today's episode, I want to go over something really simple, yet something that I think a lot of podcasters could use some pointers on, and that is if you have an interview-based show, you are likely writing a lot of emails, doing a lot of guest research for people to have on your podcast. And writing that email, sending that message to a potential guest will determine whether or not you book that person. And I want to go through how to write that email request so you get more people saying yes and scheduling interviews and less people ignoring you or saying no. The first thing you want to do is make sure you get an email address for them. Now, a lot of times you won't find an email, or there's a contact form on the person's website, and I just have had so many circumstances with a contact form, it doesn't work, or I type out the message, I click send, and it says, this message failed to send, and you're like, what the heck? Technology just gets in your way, so I always like to find out what their email is. So what I do is I go to social media, either Twitter or Facebook, and I either send a message or tweet at them and just say, hey, I'd love to send you an email, about an interview or just something really brief. Can I have your email address? And so you don't want to put the whole request right there on social media, and here's why. I have had people message me on Facebook with either interview requests or asking about interview connections or these long things. And a lot of times I'll be, with the Facebook Messenger app, it just pops right up. I could be making dinner or I could be changing Nathan's diaper and I'll just glance at it and I'll think, okay, I'll get to that later. But then it's marked as read and then I don't remember to go back to it. And so the best thing to do is message that person or tweet them and say, hey, can I have your email? I'd like to send you, a request or to email you something. Because regardless of where I'm reading it, if I'm looking at my phone, I can always just type my email address and send it back to that person, and then it goes into my Gmail account. I can mark it as unread, I can boomerang it to make sure I am getting that email fresh when I have the time to read and respond. And I bet you most people are like that too, so just make sure you have a proper email and you don't put the whole request on social media. When you send that email, it's super important that you start out with an icebreaker, with a friendly introduction. This is something that Kate Erickson talked about in her podcast probably several months ago, but it has stuck with me. When you open your email with something really friendly, like, I hope this email finds you well, or if you go see where they live, if they're in the north or the northeast, or it's really cold, you can say, hey, hope you're staying warm and all that snow. Just something to be really friendly and to show that you're a real person and that you're not just copying and pasting a form letter for a million people. It's really, really helpful. The next thing is you just want to get into your request. It's kind of like the meat and potatoes of that email. This is my podcast. This is kind of a little bit about what it's about. And seriously, 1 to 2 sentences max, folks. You don't want to give them your whole life story, especially if this is somebody that gets interviewed a lot. They know the gist. They don't need to they get it, right? They know what podcast interviews are. You don't have to explain everything to them, and tell them why you want them specifically on the show. So again, friendly intro, a little bit about your podcast, what it's about, Skype, 30 minutes, audio only, give them those kind of details, why you specifically are interested in them, their story, their expertise, be specific, be personal. And then close with, hey, I would love to get this interview scheduled. We're booking interviews over the next few weeks right now, or I have times available over the next 3 months, so we will find a time that works for you. Look forward to hearing back. Lastly, I'll just give you one kind of email tip, is to utilize a tool called Boomerang. I always, in almost every email I send, I click the Boomerang app, I click Boomerang this email if no reply in 2 days. So that way, if I don't get a reply from them in 2 days, it pops back up in my email inbox. And I know that I should follow up with them because I didn't hear back yet. So I hope you found this episode really helpful. This is what we do at Interview Connections. We find and book great guests for our clients podcasts. And if you want us to do this for you, go to interviewconnections.com and you can learn all about the different levels of service that we have. We can take care of it all for you. Check out all the other episodes we have at interviewconnections.tv. If you liked it, please comment below, share it on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you're watching this video. Be sure to listen to my podcast at roadstosuccesspodcast.com. And if you want to get my ebook on podcast interviews with more tips just like this, go to interviewconnections.com/a-la-carte. Thanks everyone. Have a great productive week. Do lots of interviews and I'll talk to you next Tuesday. With me when you email somebody, always just start out with something friendly. I hope this email finds you well. A lot of times I like to look and see where they live. If they're like in Southern California, I'll say, I hope you're enjoying the sunny weather while we've got tons of snow up here in the Northeast. Or, if they're in Canada, say, I hope you're staying warm up there, eh? I would not say, eh. Oh my God, that was so stupid. Okay. So I hope you found this email. I hope